customers would receive a tax deduction by placing money in their funds and were penalized if withdrew it early. Congress essentially gave the mutual fund companies a captive audience. Corporations were starry-eyed at the idea of not having to pay those expensive legacy promises that ensured a more reliable retirement for their workers. They loved the fact that now the huge burden for retirement could be taken off their shoulders and placed squarely on the shoulders of the workers. Based on our country's founding principles, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but there's a serious problem. These workers had no financial education. We could win in that scenario, or who could win in that scenario? Who are the captive audience of the mutual fund companies, and who are the captive audience of the mutual fund companies? And we know that Wall Street is winning big because of ERISA. Thanks to the rule changes that allowed corporations to drop the expensive defined benefit plans, these same big corporations also became big winners. Sadly, the loser is obvious, the worker. This is a clear example of the law of unintended consequence. Congress probably had no idea by passing ERISA. They were condemning millions of their fellow citizens to a retirement of shattered dreams. It would take a few decades to get there, but the evidence is growing every day. As I stated in chapter 1, as a result of the 401k, okay, I read that backwards. As I stated in chapter 1, 401ks are a result of Wall Street greed, not wise decision making. Contribution plans require the worker to largely fund their own retirement by investing in financial instruments they simply don't understand. Worse yet, they do not give the person a reliable income until death, like the defined benefit programs. On the contrary, when you have a 401k plan, your income ends when the money is gone. Your ability to fund your retirement depends on many factors that are totally out of your control, such as market risk, inflation risk, longevity risk, and others. Systemic risk, which is something that we went over in an earlier chapter. Your ability to fund your retirement depends on many factors that are totally out of your control, such as market risk, so that would fall under systemic risk, but inflation risk, longevity risk, and others. There is no other way to spin it. 401k plans are a terrible deal for the worker. Keep growing, keep developing, and remember, we are amazing.